Just different levels of
just different levels of
horrible.
Yeah.
By improved, he means he's still.
I'm like
so.
Not so horrible, but still horrible, right?
No, you're not
There's a
horrible.
scale, less horrible.
You're really bad at it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, different
compliment
levels
at
of
this point.
terrible.
Different levels.
So why'd you bring the bland socks? Like you have to. Like we're both wearing very colorful socks.
Yes.
I
was
was with
told
the colorful top.
The lower half shows, so I figured I'd show
It's a
some
lower. Did you
personality.
say it's a lower half show?
No, it's the show. The shows. The lower half.
Oh, the lower half. I thought it was a lower half.
Yeah. Well, what would that be? Yeah. I don't know.
What's going on here?
Get your earballs ready. Welcome to the Greg and Tim Show podcast. Take time to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Here are your hosts, Greg and Tim.
And welcome to the Greg and Tim Show. On that note,
We're starting right now.
We've already been recording for 10 minutes.
Well, I guess we're going. Yeah, that's fine.
This week we welcome Mitch Calvert to the studio. Mitch
From Calvert Fitness, right?
yeah.
Calvert Fitness, and
Why are you giving him the bio? Why don't we just ask him what his bio
we're
is?
going to in a second, but I just want to say, like, he's
Right.
from Calvert Fitness.
He
He's
is.
not
He
just
is.
Mitch Calvert.
He is.
Gotta
Calvert
talk me up a
Fitness.
little bit.
He's not
He's-
from.
He was in Men's Health.
Yes.
He was in the Winnipeg Free Press.
That's right.
Those are the big two.
Those are the big
Women's
two?
health for one piece.
Oh,
yes. Not my specialty.
No,
I wanted to start with a very important topic.
very important.
We are here.
This is a
We are
very
here at your request, interviewing later than we usually interview. And just to let you know, I'm missing my first NFL fantasy draft.
Oh,
So
whoa.
this is how special you
That's
are in
messed up.
studio.
Yeah.
I
That
apologize
to
in advance.
do this interview, I'm missing it. So I could be having the worst draft. The computer is picking for me. I have no idea who I'm
I've seen
getting.
you
Oh my
pick
gosh.
before. I think you're probably having an okay draft.
Okay,
You could probably do the show and still draft. I'm thinking.
I can, but
Yeah.
every time I look at my watch, he gets mad at me.
Oh,
I don't get upset or mad at him. I just think that the guest doesn't think he's paying attention.
Oh,
When he's like this,
That's
he's like,
true.
"What time is it?" And
yeah.
and then the guest is like, "Well, I guess it's time for."
I could have done the whole thing and just asked his advice though, because you're a sports guy, eh?
Big sports guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's
Very
your
cliche.
favorite sport?
Well, Canadian. It got to be hockey, but
Yeah.
you know, baseball was up there. Now football's probably edged it out a little bit. But
Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
play
hockey's-
hockey as a kid?
I did not well.
No,
Not.
you did not, or not well.
I did not well. You
I did
have a
not.
break there.
Comma. Well. Yeah. yeah.
Semicolon.
My weight was part of the fact. Yeah, and you guys probably know my backstory, right? I gained
Yeah.
a lot of weight in early years, so hockey no longer became very easy for me to do. I'm
Yeah.
back playing though. I've been playing for 12 plus years. in
Okay.
adulthood, so I love it again. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
In men's leagues where they're very chippy and angry, and they
the
just
later the game, the rougher
Yeah.
it gets. Yeah,
they all think they're
Yeah.
making the NHL.
yeah. But I just can't quit. You know, it's one of those things.
So, you wanted to start out with a different topic, though.
Okay, so you know a lot about fitness and diet and personal health, and we're gonna get into that. But we wanted to throw you a curveball at the beginning of the show,
Love curveballs.
so that it had nothing to do with any of that stuff, which interests me completely. So we're going to talk about my most hated topic we've ever talked about by far, and see if you have any interest in engaging us in what is pretty much Greg's favorite thing to ask a guest.
Wait, so it's your most hated?
I can't
He loves
stand
it?
talking about it.
But he
you
actually
brought it up.
He wanted me
Yeah.
to bring it up.
I wanted
Okay.
to start with something different.
Okay.
And everybody seems to have this, like we ask the most genuine questions, you know, about life, family, religion, health, and nobody wants to talk about it. But whenever we talk about this, to this day, we might have not talked about this for 3 months, and which is the case, 3 or
Yeah.
4 months, and people are still commenting about previous things about this particular topic.
Okay.
Isn't that
Yeah.
correct?
Wow,
That is
you've
correct.
Really
It's our
built it
most-
up.
And it drives me absolutely insane. And I'm
So
hoping,
you're
and
really,
I'm hoping you say, Greg, this is ludicrous. I don't know why you brought this up, Tim. You are smart and you know not to discuss
This
it.
will be hilarious when you love it. The
Okay.
topic is the Mandela Effect.
Okay.
Do you know what the Mandela Effect is?
Not in great detail, no.
Do you remember the movie Shazam by Sinbad with Sinbad in it?
Yes.
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 It doesn't exist.
Shazam doesn't exist.
Shazam doesn't exist.
Well, does the movie Shazam not exist, or does the movie with Sinbad?
The Shazam movie with Sinbad as a
Okay.
genie.
Yes.
Do
Vaguely, yes. I'm sure I watched it, and you're claiming that it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist
Because of the Mandela Effect.
because of
right?
the Mandela Effect.
Okay.
Give him a
So-
few more examples.
So
Yeah.
the Mandela Effect essentially is the reason it's called the Mandela Effect is some people remember Nelson Mandela dying in jail, and Nelson Mandela was actually released from jail and died later. Some people remember the Shazam movie with Sinbad. Some people think that that's hogwash and it's never happened in its life. But there's people that are messaging us saying, I've got the video, I've got the movie, it happened. Even Sinbad says it didn't happen. So I got a question. I got a few questions for
Yeah.
you.
Well,
Go down
Mandela
the-
was
go down the
released.
list.
We're going to get into this Mandela Effect thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
essentially the Mandela Effect is saying that there's two different universes. You're from a universe, Tim's from a universe. And one year they actually collided, and some of us from one universe and some of us from the other took place of each other. Okay?
My answer would be you've watched too much Marvel movies, right? Like all this stuff is.
It's very close to a Marvel movie.
Yes, it
But-
has that feeling.
Did the Monopoly Man have a monocle?
Yes,
So in that picture, which one's right?
monocle.
Okay, let's
You're
see.
gonna say it's that one. of
Let's
course
see.
you do.
Swipe up.
Ah.
No monocle is correct.
But you could have found that anywhere and just
Nope.
photoshopped it out. No.
Nope. That's the no monocle is correct. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Which Pikachu's right?
Oh god, I don't even see a difference. I guess I'm not a big
The tail is the
Pokemon
difference.
person, but I noticed. If I had to guess, I would go with the red, yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm based on no intel.
So
Okay.
you're right on that
Yeah.
one. Okay. We'll go to the next one. So this one, are you a Star Wars guy?
Middle of the road.
Did you watch Star Wars when you were
Love the
growing up?
movies, Yes.
So which C-3PO do you think is right? No, which one do you think is right?
Yes, I know the answer, unfortunately, but I would go with the pure gold.
Yeah. So would I.
But,
But the real answer is gold and silver. And Tim's not a Star Wars fan.
okay.
So he doesn't know a lot about Star Wars. If it was a Star Trek thing, we'd be able to get him on it. But
Okay.
The original.
yeah,
so like as you can see, some of these things, if you go to the next one
yeah,
here,
it's tripping me out a bit
Kit
here.
Kat.
We're all living in the Matrix, aren't we?
Yeah.
There's the difference is there's a dash. He's saying,
Oh
is it a dash or is there not a dash? I'm gonna say you haven't given me these, so
I haven't given you
let me
these.
play along.
Okay,
It does
okay.
not have a dash. Go ahead.
What do you think?
I'll be contrarian and go without the dash, even though I'm kind of mixed.
You're going without the dash?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not-
it's
it's
without the dash. And then I think I've got another one, Fruit of the Loom.
Oh boy.
Come on, you're always in your underwear on
Yeah,
your,
no,
on your Instagram.
I go a little higher end than Fruit of the Loom, though. But
Okay.
I think there's a basket.
You think there's a
I think
basket.
there's
As
a
a
basket.
child, you remember there being a basket, right? Right?
I
And-
don't remember.
rely
I'm
on
gonna say
my-
no basket, but I do not remember.
Yeah, and then in reality, there is no basket.
Wow.
And then let's go to Flintstones.
It's got to have a T in it.
Flint.
Flintstones.
No, Flint and Flint Stones. Oh, there's an extra T in it.
Yeah.
It is. There's only one T.
I was going to go with Flintstones. I've always pronounced it that way.
He has
Flint
two T's.
Stones?
I have one T.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We're trying to be an opposite.
Final
ends here.
answer. He's right.
Two
Okay.
T's, and I
Okay.
think there might be chartreuse. You can't answer this because you're a painter. You know what chartreuse is.
Actually, I don't.
have a clue.
Honestly, I don't.
In your mind, what color is chartreuse?
It's giving off a purple vibe to me, but
I have no idea.
You don't know color? You're a
literally
complete
painter.
guess.
He's
I
a
literally.
painter.
I don't know colors. Whatever the customer says, I go get that at the paint store. I don't.
So if
know
I
colors.
say I would like chartreuse, what color do you think it would be?
Well, I'd be again completely guessing, but I want to say the purple or whatever violet that is.
Yeah, pick your color.
But so I'm going to go green instead. It's the opposite of what I think.
And the answer
That's-
is green.
Yeah, that's
Chartreuse is green.
I have
Wow,
no,
yeah.
I've never heard the word chartreuse.
Really?
Chartreuse or whatever.
Just
it is.
stick with the like green.
Okay, let's keep going.
My
Let's
wife
This is
brings
the-
out
this is the
colors.
last- this is the
Okay,
last
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Growing up, when you took history of the United States, how many states do you remember there being?
50.
52.
52?
50.
The answer is 50,
Oh my god.
which is strange. I also remember 52.
Yeah.
I also remember
Hawaii, Puerto
The
Rico.
Fruit of the Loom having the cornucopia and Shazam being a movie.
So
So are we
So
right? And the
We're
world's
in the
just
same.
wrong, or-
We're from the same universe.
Okay.
Tim's from the wrong universe,
You've
which is the one we
convinced me.
live in, unfortunately.
He's got me.
I'm not even sure what to say anymore about this.
So there's a movie called The Mandela Effect. You got to check it out.
All right.
It has all these Mandela effects like built into it every now and again. And what it does is it actually makes you think a little bit, but it also has a little bit of a Matrixy vibe about like programming and stuff like that. So if we lived in the Matrix, essentially they could change everything, right? Like type something into the Matrix, change it, and away we go. Tim
You're
will
completely.
Tim
no
hates
chance.
this. He hates the commentary.
I'm not convinced, but yeah.
and you're
starting
free
to
to
lean.
keep convincing him.
Yeah.
But this is my opinion. Some people need a little bit of extra spice in their life and to get their brains going. That's a little bit bored in the day. Maybe work hasn't been stimulating enough, and they need to think that there is an alternate universe that makes people remember different things differently, instead of our brains are just hot wired not to remember things
So,
correctly.
The other thing people are saying, so Berenstein Bears. Do you know Berenstein Bears?
Yeah.
How do you spell
books.
it?
Bernstein. I don't think it has an E in there. BERN.
Beren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
STEIN.
AIN.
No.
Yeah.
No. Got these books at home.
You're gonna be
Yeah,
grabbing
I'll
these
have to
books
check
when you
this
get
out.
home.
Yeah.
There are
Oh.
people that will message us and say,
Yeah.
"Nope, my grandmother has a copy of Shazam with Sinbad. It's on VHS, and I'll go
So
pick
the-
it up. I will
they-
bring it to your house."
Yeah.
The other tinfoil hat conspiracy is the government is changing things on us, and just to see how far they can push it.
Hmm.
That's the other tinfoil
Well,
hat.
so there's
some
you
people-
might actually get me to believe that.
There's
Yeah.
some people that have the fruit of the loom. Like if you go on TikTok now, and now that your phone's over there, it's hearing all these things.
Sure, I'm gonna be getting.
So
ads
you're gonna
for
be
Fruit of
getting-
the Loom without the basket.
Well, you're gonna get Mandela Effect things on
Ooh.
TikTok,
Ah.
and then there's a lady that actually has Fruit of the Loom T-shirts with the basket on it,
Oh, God.
and she's telling us that the government is lying to us.
Okay.
But
I'm sure
it's a
she's
whole
got a big
different.
following.
It's a whole different
There's
conspiracy.
A certain segment of the population that's
I-
leans towards conspiracy theories, but
Yeah.
you might be onto
Yes,
something here.
some people.
Yeah,
there
I
is
think
not a
there
conspiracy
might be
theory
something shifting
that they
in the
haven't
brain.
liked.
Yes.
Some people actually believe it. Greg likes to talk about it.
Yeah,
and
he's neutral.
he's not
switched
neutral. He doesn't
Oh.
believe any of it.
Oh,
I just
okay.
like
Oh,
to.
assumed you were
I
on that
like to
side.
create
He
the
likes to have his
conversation.
brain going.
Got
like
it.
the spinny wheel all the time, and if it does a little bit of this, slows down. But he likes to
Find
keep
something.
it going.
Yes.
I just have Red Bulls.
like the
and
gravitron.
rock stars.
So his brain only works sometimes.
That's true.
Might as well.
I downed a Rockstar before you came. It took me 10 minutes.
Wow.
I got to get hyped up.
We're gonna get into.
Late, man. I'd be up all night.
I had never had a Red Bull, and then we had a guest coming in, and we always ask guests what they want to drink. You said
Mhm.
water,
Mm,
very exciting.
I had to
You
be on
wanted
brand.
water,
unfortunately.
but a lot of guests. This is one of the more fun things. We have different responses, right? So last week it was tequila, but one of our guests wanted beer,
So we bought him three
three
beers,
beer, and he had all
three
three.
King cans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And he got them.
Content must have been
Yeah.
really open.
He made
And
them
I won't say
disappear.
who it was, but it rhymes with Rug Brown.
Oh, I saw some clips where he
The
was
last
nursing
name
one.
was
yeah,
Brown.
yeah.
It rhymed with Brown. It might have been Brown.
Yes.
And then, so anyway, so what the Avery Martin, she asked for
Red
Red
Bull.
Bull, and I decided we'd have some fun with that one. So
But Tim had never had a Red
never had a
Bull.
Red Bull, but
broke your energy drink seal.
so yeah, we're all going to have Red Bulls, and I challenged her to chug off
Ooh,
at the beginning of the
chugging that
show.
sounds like a bad idea.
Right. So
Yeah.
You know Red Bull cans, how small they are?
Just hammering them. on
No,
every
I
show.
bought the king size ones
Oh my
too.
God.
And then he made us chug them.
Yeah. Greg said he threw the competition.
How was your sleep that night?
I'm fine.
Really, you're one of those that just.
No, I could have a
Toast
pot of
and
I could have a pot
Remember,
of
he's
coffee.
from the other universe.
Listen,
Oh,
I could
sure.
have a pot of
Yeah.
I could have a
That's
pot
what
of
I mean.
coffee at 10 p.m. and go to sleep by 10:30. I'll have to pee at 11, but
Wow.
but I'll go to sleep. The caffeine. I wish when I was going to high school and university, I wish I could do that for cramming for everything.
Yeah.
And I did cram. I did not study periodically.
He is a history major.
Yeah.
Do you have any history questions?
I have none.
Hey, go ahead.
No, no. I like history.
What year is
but
the-
it's all fake now.
What year
Yeah,
was the
it's
war?
all
Universe,
fake.
What year was the War of
So
1812?
Why? No,
1812.
what year?
What year was the War of 1812?
14, I believe.
It was 1814.
1814,
Yes, that's
yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Was it really?
1812.
I don't know. I'm sorry. You could
I
tell
sounded
me.
very confident in saying that. Yeah.
You sounded confident that he said yes. So I just assumed that was true. Well, let's actually talk about Mitch now.
Okay.
Instead of talking about your favorite subjects.
So now that we're kind of warmed up here, right?
This is like bringing in the opening act. Now we'll bring in the actual act.
And you've been peering at these questions, so maybe you've seen them a little bit. Don't look again.
Yes.
Don't look
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
In your own words, tell us, who is Mitch Calvert?
In this universe or the other one?
Yeah, in the current universe that we live
that's
in.
easy for me to answer.
Not the high school universe that we're going to get
right, with that fake Fruit of the Loom.
to.
Yeah. Husband first, but equally so, I guess, would be father, right? Ever since I had kids 8 years ago, my identity shifted to someone that's here for more than just myself.
Yeah.
So that's the sappy
Big
answer
difference.
is, yeah.
8 years is your oldest?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
Boy and a girl?
2 girls.
2 girls, okay.
8 and 6.
8 and so 2 years apart, and you're done?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. No, it's just the gap is too wide now. And
Don't
the
you
pregnancy
want-
was tough on.
You don't want to have a
Bring
boy?
me a
You
second.
want to have that?
I thought you were going to say I thought you were going to say pregnancy was tough on you.
Oh,
the
it
first time.
was grueling as well. Yeah.
How big are you on your name? Some people, some guys that want to have their name.
Yeah, the whole
go on.
legacy thing, especially with the fact that we're all living in the Matrix, doesn't really matter
Yeah.
at this point.
You can
We've
keep
already
bringing this
discussed that.
stuff up and
Yeah,
bringing it. That's
I probably
fine.
will. I'm gonna bring it
I agree with it.
Yeah, not enough to really suffer through that first year again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounded like great memories there.
Year
Yeah.
0 through 1 was a tough year.
With the second,
With
but
the
again,
second.
this is my wife bared the brunt of it, right?
Yeah.
She was.
But if you have a third,
Yeah.
you're back to the good, right? Every second one.
I'm not willing to make that bet.
And you guys are young. You're young.
I'm 40 in a month. Actually.
40.
Yeah,
That's still young.
yeah.
Is your wife younger than you?
Just by a year. So at that point, practically
Right.
geriatric by birthday terms, right? I mean,
Hey.
there's standards that, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I might get some hate mail now, but
Yeah, come
I
on.
believe there's a limit, although that seems to be stretching later and later in life now.
I have a family member who wanted a boy and has 8 girls.
Wow, I'd give up.
3 wives, 8 girls.
Oh, different
Yeah.
wives too. You'd think it was just the match of the first wife, right? Wow.
3 wives?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's been married 3
Good
times.
for
8
him.
girls.
So he's had 3 wives. So that's
Yeah.
3 women in his life.
Yeah.
Plus 8 girls.
Correct.
That's another 8 women in his life.
Well,
He's got
the- not-
11 women in his life with
the
no
3
boys.
So
women aren't in
emasculated.
his life at the same time.
Well, they're in his life.
Are they?
If there's kids involved,
if
you
there's
might
kids
still have
involved,
to
you
talk
tell
to the
me.
person.
If there's kids involved, I would assume so. So, Mitch, tell us something we wouldn't know about you.
Well, this whole fitness thing was not my first path, right? I was 260 pounds. I was a heavy set kid and I wanted to be a sports reporter.
Okay.
I actually had Doug Brown on my Benchwarmers podcast in college. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A show way back before it was cool to have a podcast.
Yeah.
And so I was a sports reporter for almost 5 years and almost went to Sault Ste. Marie for a job, but I sold my soul for public relations at the Rady Center here instead.
Okay.
But then I was in a fitness environment and I lost all the weight and I got a love for fitness. So completely 180 there. So I guess the thing no one really knows because I don't really talk about it is the fact that I had a completely different life and a different
Yeah.
reality as a sports reporter
Oh.
for about 4 or 5 years.
So
Went
where
through
did
the
you do
schooling.
sports reporting for?
Fort Francis Times
Okay.
primarily, and then a little freelance in Winnipeg for the Sun. But yeah, I wanted to come back to Winnipeg. I didn't want to continue the grind through the small towns until I got an opportunity here.
Okay.
What's
So-
the big sports life in Fort Francis?
Yeah, well, it's surprisingly pretty intense. The high school parents were not kind to me if I criticized their son or daughter in the newspaper.
Because it was
Hate
all
mail.
high school sports?
They have a junior B team, like the equivalent of MJHL.
Oh, okay.
So that's their big claim to fame.
Yeah.
They get 300-400 fans out, and it's rowdy, rough.
And they're probably not nice to you either if you said anything mean.
No, and the fact they can find you, they can walk right into the newspaper office on Main Street, and now I want to talk to that guy. And
There was no like you weren't in a office of any sort. You were
it
just
was
in
an
a
office. But
Ish.
there wasn't
Ish.
a whole
It
lot.
was the Tim
yeah, yeah. Basically, it was the back office of a Tim's, and one line of a defense admin person, but they can see you behind them, so they
Yeah.
can pretend that you're not there. So
okay.
every day I had to have a bit of an argument with somebody about some little detail.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. it
So did
was.
you go to school for that then?
I did. Yeah, I did Creecom here
Okay,
in town.
here in
So
Winnipeg.
U of W, the joint degree between the two.
Okay.
So a lot of time and effort, and then everyone says newspaper's dead. My first year on the job, I'm like, oh shoot, what's happening? The internet is ruining my life.
And then you started doing your podcast called Benchwarmers.
That was through the college, yeah.
That was through the college.
Yeah.
Okay, and you had Doug Brown on.
We had Doug
And was
Brown.
Doug Brown your big claim to fame, or did you have
He
a
was
couple
up
other
there.
guys?
Dancing Gabe edged him out
Oh,
a little
Dancing
bit.
Gabe, yeah.
But mostly local with a bunch of bombers on it.
So you got into fitness.
Yes.
So
Through-
let's back up.
Okay.
So your motivation to get into fitness was organic in that you were in an environment of fitness and you lost a certain amount of weight by doing XYZ.
60 pounds.
And I'm kind of like you, where when I was younger I was heavy set, and I would kind of bounce up and down for my weight, where it was like I'd be up and down, up and down.
Mm.
What made you lose that weight, and did you fall in love with whatever you are like? Because you look great, you look like in great shape. And
Should I leave?
This is where the magic happens, he said when he walked down here.
so and I'm gonna clarify what I mean by this, but I'm very interested in people's external motivations versus internal motivations, right? And so sometimes there's something so powerful inside of us that it makes us change who we are, and it lasts a long time. Sometimes people change things and it lasts a month, 2 months, but it seems like some people kind of take that energy and kind of run with it for a long period of time. And it sounds like that's where your story went. So what were your motivations, and how did it lead you into a journey of health where you are today?
Yeah. We'll back it up a little bit. I mean, in high school, in gym class, those little body fat devices where you grip it and rip it, and it gives you an inaccurate number, mind you, but a number nonetheless of what your body fat percentage is.
Yep.
And my gym teacher at the time was a mustached, rah guy, and everyone
They
had to
all
be-
were, I think,
everyone had to
back
be
in the
like,
90s.
yeah, it was a different world for sure. And his standards were high, and he wanted every guy just diced and ripped and shredded. So we had to get that test done in gym class, and then he started writing down the names on the whiteboard and the body fat percentage, and it kept going until the very last row, and it was me and my 38% or whatever, and I wanted to find a hole and crawl into, right?
Oh man.
So that was, I guess, the initial, maybe I need to change something.
So
Yeah.
Shame, yes.
external motivation.
Yeah, embarrassment,
Okay.
public shaming, and didn't do anything with that information.
No.
I had good intentions, but didn't really start or really can sustain anything at that point. I was still in high school. Still, the video games kind of took precedence. It wasn't until my brother brought home Pumping Iron documentary, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was years later. I was still going through school, university, and living with my parents, and saw him kind of get motivated. He was the type that would do something all in for like 2 weeks at a time and then be on to the
And then,
next.
yep.
But I happened to latch on to that Pumping Iron gym style thing,
Okay.
and his protein powder happened to be left over. So the fact that it was there, I had some tools at my disposal. That was all it took to get started.
Yep.
And I went down. It was obviously a bouncy road from that point forward. Through sports journalism, I just trained on the side haphazardly. I never really lost a ton of weight. But it wasn't until I got into the environment of actually the Radio Center. I don't know if you're familiar with a gym. I was in membership and marketing, but having a gym right upstairs, being around
You can go
fitness people,
anytime.
yeah, you start to really get into a routine with it.
Did being
Fall
around
of
fitness people help?
I think environment did.
Yeah.
You're in meetings with the trainers, and they're talking about fitness stuff. Yeah, macros, lifting heavy things.
They're measuring your fat.
Yeah,
You're back in high school.
Yeah.
They're
On
putting
the
your
board.
stuff on the whiteboard.
Staff with
still
most
last.
fast. Yeah.
Mitch, come on,
It
Mitch.
took a second public shaming, in other words, to finally make the change I wanted. But yeah, that was, I guess, really the tipping point.
So did you end up taking any kind of schooling?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Went back for kinesiology.
Okay.
Kind of in evening shifts, you know, and I got so much hands-on experience at the Rady by working there.
Yeah.
Like I was constantly in meetings with trainers. I was coming up with curriculum for stuff, ended up, you know, training a bit once I got my credentials on the side there.
Okay.
So it was sort of bridging that gap between starting my own thing and working at the Rady. And it was several years of dabbling in both before I took the leap
Yeah.
of faith in 2018, I believe, and fully went in.
Jumping into your
So-
own company and
Yeah.
taking on your own clientele and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you've gone from doing what you were doing to taking your courses and going to the gym regularly and starting to transform yourself. But what made you want to take out of shape guys like myself and transform them?
It's how I felt after and how it changed me inside and out. Like mentally, how much more productivity I had, how much more oomph I had to chase after my goals because of the reps in the gym. I know it's cliche, but that mentality translated to my life and obviously led to girlfriend and wife, kids, and all these things that I don't necessarily would have guaranteed would have happened on the path I was on.
Okay.
And just that victim mentality I had before, and now it just empowered me to really go for it, right?
So how many years were you at Rady then before taking on your own? Because it's been 6 years of your own now. So how many years prior to that?
I was at Rady for a little over 5 years.
Okay.
But this started as a blog in 2012.
Okay.
And then I had some clients through 2014, 15, 16, 17. And
Just on the side type of thing?
Yeah. And then by 17, 18, it was, you know, eclipsing my salary at Rady. And I was tapped out, frankly. I had two little kids, I think, at that point. Yeah, she was just born, the second one. And I had to take the leap of faith, you know, burn the boats, because it was burning me out trying to balance both, you know. So
how was that leap of faith?
it seemed the universe that were involved.
Yeah.
The second universe, I got an email from the Free Press like within days.
Okay.
Looking for a columnist. They saw what I had done for Men's Health. And it was like, okay, well, I guess I was right to make this leap of faith, because now the universe is conspiring for me, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which universe?
The one that
We're not sure. I think
The current one?
Yeah, the one. I think Greg and I are.
With the-
I'm not sure if you're in it.
Because
we
when the
don't know if
explosion
Tim's even
happening-
supposed to be in this universe.
No, I'm not.
He's in his own.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's made for the other universe. Right.
Yes.
I couldn't say.
You're
So
bring this up the whole show, aren't you?
every show, all the time. So what do you find most rewarding about working, like, say, with a client? And what kind of clients usually come to see you? What are they wanting?
Fat loss primarily.
Okay.
You know, that's what most over 40-year-olds are dealing with. You know, the compound effect of sleepless nights and career-driven people, and it just starts to creep up on them over time. And so, yeah, I would say 90% are looking for that 20, 30 pounds initially.
Yep.
Where do you start with someone? Like, let's say someone comes to you and you know, I got to lose this 30 pounds. I'm not really motivated. Do you find people want a drill sergeant? Do you ask them a bunch of questions to see what their goals are? Where do you start?
Yeah, I mean, before they even sign up as a client, there's an exhaustive assessment process to ensure they're motivated. At least an 8 out of 10. I can bring an 8 up to a 10, but I can't bring a 4 up to an 8, 9, 10. You know, it's just they're just not ready to make the necessary changes. So oftentimes that process weeds out those people, but I want to help everybody. So usually I'll fire them away like a free cheat sheet that follows up with some emails. Maybe they start to see, okay, I can see myself doing this. That 4 becomes a 6, becomes an 8.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people bring in when they come to see you mentally?
That they have to be perfect to get results. You know, that they have to just make a complete 180 and forego all their favorite foods and never have a beer again and never go out on weekends. There is a give and take, but it's never as black and white as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll start to see the residual benefits of just making minor changes right away. That the weight loss just kind of happens by default.
Yeah, and you say that they can't have a beer again. I follow you on Instagram. You do a lot of Instagram reels. You talk a lot about some controversial stuff every now and again about fitness and health and that kind of thing. About, you know, going on vacation and you know, enjoying yourself and not just becoming, you know, super regimented, right?
Mm.
Am I correct in that assumption? Is how you feel like going on vacation? Not to let go of everything, but to let yourself actually enjoy yourself, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do that week in Mexico. It's the other 50, is it Well, now
51.
yeah.
The other
'cause
51
state
weeks.
question you had earlier.
Is there there's still 52 weeks in a year?
There's still
Yeah.
52 weeks in
Like
our
a
year.
Surprise! There's 54.
Yeah. There goes
War
my
of
vacation weeks.
1814.
Gone.
So yeah, like on vacation, you can let loose every now and again. This is a question because Tim doesn't used to do cheat days. He used to do one cheat day a week.
Yeah.
Sundays. Jesus
Yeah.
Day was also cheat day.
And
I believe
now
that
he
might be
doesn't
some-
do any cheat days. He literally will regiment himself. Like we go on vacation, and sometimes when him and his wife come with me and my wife, sometimes he'll have something, but 99.99% of the time he will not cheat.
Wow.
My fascination is when people equate having a good time with overeating.
Ah, yes.
So I will. So
Fair
I
point.
understand if you like. We were in Chicago a couple times this summer. Well, if someone hasn't had a piece of deep dish pizza, it's
Sure.
special. If you're
Mhm.
going to New York, Sicilian pizza. There's certain things that you have to have a. You kind of have to have them, right? But when we're going to the States and we're having Culver's every second night, nothing special about that per se. So I've never understood why it's equates to overeating on vacation to have a good time,
Mm.
or how we have certain foods that are comfort foods, somehow sugar and really things that are technically unhealthy for us is something people should want, or that it equates to having a good time. Never understood that, but that's just me. I'm weird. I'm different.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the North American way of excess. And you go to a movie somewhere in South America, they don't have tubs of popcorn that are just assumed that you're supposed to consume with the movie, right? So
Depends on how long the movie is.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, especially if you know how you're going to feel afterwards. It might take away from your experience. On the trip.
And that's why I stopped
Yeah.
my cheat days, is because Monday I was walking around like a
Well,
zombie. It wasn't
yes.
worth it. I was kicking my
Uh,
butt all over the place Monday morning, afternoon, and evening, and it wasn't worth it to me to have some stuff that temporarily makes me feel better.
Mhm.
But
yeah, and I was once the cheat meal guy too, cheat day guy, and I'd come up with these elaborate, healthy cake recipes. I'd eat the entire thing, and I'd be so sick afterwards that I prefer people just save room at the end of the day for a fudge bar or something moderate that they can.
Didn't you do an
enjoy.
Instagram reel where you had a whole McCain cake or something?
that would be impressive.
Yeah, the red velvet cakes.
The red velvet
back in the
cakes.
day.
Okay.
Yeah, it would turn your feces red. It was clearly you're consuming too much if that's what it looks like coming
That
out.
and the beet chips from Pine Ridge Hollow.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever had the beet chips at Pine Ridge Hollow?
No.
Just
Have you-
don't call the doctor the next day.
Have you been to
Yeah,
Pine?
okay.
Have you been to Pine Ridge Hollow?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
but you've not had the beet chips.
I have not had the beet
You
chips.
gotta
that,
try the beet
that
chips.
was a mistake. You have to have beet chips. Even
Okay.
I'll admit that.
That-
All right. That's
what,
fair.
having the beet chips or calling the doctor?
Both.
Okay. so you have something called the Mansformation method. It helps people like myself, my age group, burn off their beer belly, essentially is what you call it, right? Or their
Mhm.
just their gut, that type of thing. So how do you do that without them just destroying themselves in the gym on a regular basis? Like a lot of your stuff online is saying like 3 to 4 times a week to make sure that you're consistent, eating healthy, eating well. But how are people doing it without just destroying themselves in the gym?
Yeah, and that's a misconception that you need to destroy yourself in the gym to get results. And frankly, what you do in the gym is building strength, muscle, tone. You're not burning calories to
Okay.
a significant degree, unless you're Michael Phelps training 2+ hours a day.
Yeah.
And
eating
most mere mortals,
5,000 calories.
Yes, yeah. So people have the wrong mentality about fitness. First off, I guess that's brought on by the fitness industry, like burning calories, how much calories did I burn? My heart rate's tracked on the monitor or whatever. You can't really move the needle with workouts alone.
Yeah.
It serves its role. You want to look toned and have a muscular physique, but fat loss happens the other 23 hours of the day.
Yeah.
What you put into your mouth overall,
Yeah.
your sleep, your stress, your movement. Actually, the movement outside of the gym matters way more in terms of fat loss than that hour you do, even if you're working really hard, right?
I find that like the 80-20 rule, where you can't work out your the fork, right? So 80% of your weight loss is what you choose to put into your diet. And like you say, there's a lot of misconceptions, in my opinion, about exercise. People think they're going to work out, lose all this weight, and they have a one-dimensional viewpoint of what the gym does for that. In reality, the gym does so much more than that. And you can tell me if you're on the same wavelength as me, but where do you think exercise falls as far as giving you mental health, let's say, benefits?
Huge, and they've had studies done matching up exercise versus those taking SSRI, and comparable, if not better, results. Not to say you shouldn't go down that route.
SSRI, just for the...
Oh, antidepressants.
Okay.
Yeah. So I find it has more benefits than just the mental piece, but just how your body performs. Like, no energy lags because you're operating at optimal efficiency. Resting heart rate's lower. It's a real magic pill in so many ways, but people overlook all that stuff because they're fixated on how's it going to move the scale number the next day. And it never has a really instant validating effect in that regard.
Yeah, as opposed to all the chemicals that are released by doing exercises, like the endorphins, the testosterone, and all that kind of stuff, right? For men anyway.
And yeah, a lot of the stuff nowadays, Dr. Peter Attia would be kind of the leading researcher on that. The more you exercise, the higher your VO2 max, like how much energy you can take in.
Yeah.
The longer you live, the less likely you'll get eaten up by one of the 4 horsemen diseases, you know, like heart disease,
cancer,
anything to do with the brain, you know, diabetes.
How did, in your viewpoint, talking about, let's go back to COVID, the event we had for 3 years, how do you think people who were regular exercisers and healthy, quote unquote, healthy people did in that transition versus people that maybe hadn't built that habit into their lifestyle?
Yeah, they just found some dumbbells online and kept up their routines, right? If they were already pretty active. I saw those who weren't really consistent, they went one of 2 ways. Some people used it like a boot camp where they hired me and they went all in because they had nothing better to do with their time. Others, just, you know, packed it on. Bottle of wine every night, hitting the pantry, right? So it was one of those things that divided us up a lot and had lasting ramifications, right, on health and everything else. But
and talking about like the mental side of it too, right? There's a lot of people that were in their homes regularly that weren't normally. They used to go out and socialize and work their brain on a regular basis, right? So now that they're at home, they could, like you said, go one of 2 ways. And some people just shut down completely, right? Whereas some people took that time to get more and more into fitness and that type of thing. I think you see a lot more people that got onto the bandwagon of fitness on places like Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that too, right? So did you find that your industry grew during that time?
Yeah, and I was sort of lucky because I had made the shift a couple years prior. Because I moved out of the gym, so I had all the tools and the virtual setup that I was training clients all over the place, not just in Winnipeg. So Winnipeg clients could just transition to how I was, you know, successfully operating with others outside of province, right? And certainly it brought on a lot of people documenting their journey and more coaches, certainly. I'm all for more coaches because there's more than enough people that need our help. So I'm always in more of a collaborative approach when it comes to that. And you just connect with a certain coach, that's great. You know, if there's something they do that I don't, then by all means, right? But yeah, we're still fighting the good fight when it comes to overall health of our population and making a small dent right now. So.
Especially North America.
Why would you say you're making a small dent?
Well, we're fighting a losing battle against the food industry, right? And
the sugar companies.
Yes. And it's very hard to win that war with that bag of chips that, you know, food scientists in a lab that are getting paid very well.
But they have no trans fat.
Oh, yeah. Well, the marketing on the front, look at the label in the back, please. The marketing on the front is very misleading. And once you crack that bag open, our brains are very primitive, right? Once we get a taste of that chip, we're not going to stop at 1 cup or 1 portion of it. We're going to keep going.
Well, what's the first thing that happens when someone stops eating unhealthy foods on a regular basis? They go into detox, right?
It's almost like withdrawal. For some
like a sugar
really
detox.
Sugar addicts, if they're cutting it completely. I never suggest trying to cut it completely. It's moderation, but if you know your devil is in the pantry that you're not going to moderate, like
get rid of it.
Trying to control your environment as best you can, because you know, having a Mexican standoff with a bag of chips every night at 9 p.m., you're not going to win that.
No.
Willpower is not going to win that at the end of the day.
No, I'll speak from experience, right? Like
Mhm.
if the bag of chips is in there and it's one that I like, I'm gonna pour a bowl and I'm
Yeah.
gonna have a bowl of chips, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just the way our brains work. And
Yeah.
I think it's like you said primitive, but you know, if you put a bag of chips in front of cavemen, if it's food, they're going to eat it
Mhm.
because that's the first thing that their brain says is I need to eat to survive.
Calories, yes,
Right?
because a state of famine may be coming.
Yeah.
For us, there's McDonald's on every corner, so not likely ever going to face that scenario, right? So
we don't have to fight for our food.
No.
Whereas back in the day, they'd have to fight for their food, farm for their food, and all of that kind of stuff. So their
Mhm.
bodies were working for the food too, right? So
Correct.
it actually brings me to something. You said the name Peter Attia. So he's recently gone away from fasting in a very extreme way.
Mhm.
So he was talking. I don't know if you saw the TV show called Limitless with Chris
Yep.
Hemsworth. He was doing a fast. I think he was doing like a 72 or even longer fast.
Mhm.
And Peter T has actually changed his thoughts on fasting. But I have a keto clip that I wanted to show. This keto clip is essentially going to talk about whether or not it's beneficial to you. It's a guy by the name of George Janko, and the other guy's name is Paul Saladino.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, you know who Paul
Carnivore guy.
Saladino is?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll watch that clip here.
Beautiful.
I can show you pictures of myself when I'm on keto. I look like a different human being.
Really? I don't think keto is a great long-term state for humans. It's stressful, especially for women, but also for men. We know that it elevates stress hormone.
And so it stresses you out?
It doesn't necessarily stress you in your brain, but your body is always doing these processes called gluconeogenesis where you have to create your own glucose. There are indicators that that is a stressful process. It's sort of a fallback process for humans. It's essentially a starvation state.
Is this why they do this for people that are on cancer?
The cancer thing with keto is interesting. I think that the data is not fully there right now.
Really?
Yeah, it's not fully understood that keto is the best thing for everyone with cancer. I don't think the idea that carbohydrates cause cancer is fully fleshed out in the medical literature. And the word carb or carbohydrate is something that's very confusing too, right? Because there's a lot of nuance there, like what's a carb, what's a carbohydrate?
So what do you get from that clip?
It can work for the right person. Even Jordan Peterson has talked about how he went completely animal based,
Yeah.
nothing but beef, and it worked wonders on his ailments. And if they've got, I don't know, I think his wife had some joint inflammation and it cleared that right up.
And his daughter had autoimmune disease.
Yes, the
and it
autoimmune
actually
condition as well.
cleared
Yeah.
up for
Mhm.
McHale, I believe her name is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is the people on the periphery that get good results from it, then they preach online that this is the only way. And I find the truth lies in the middle for most.
Okay.
Like even the carnivore guy, Paul Saladino, walked back. He's no longer carnivore completely.
Not
right?
completely. That's right.
Yeah, he's introduced fruits and honeys and some basic carbohydrates.
Yeah,
now.
going completely keto. I mean, to say it's not for everyone, I think it would benefit a lot of people. Whether someone could do that, but going back to the fasting thing, I'm not sure a 72-hour fast periodically is not good for everyone to flush out your system, et cetera, et cetera. There is
But the keto thing that like I was saying prior to that is that people actually used to fight for their food.
right.
Right. So like keto is using that thought process, the way you eat, but you're not doing the fighting.
Mm,
Right? So your body's stressed by not eating, but it's not being pushed in the limits that it needs to be pushed in while you're not eating. Does that make sense?
it does to a degree. I mean, they've shown in tribes that have a ton of activity, our bodies tend to adapt to the activity anyway and burn less
Yeah.
calories. So there's only like a range of how much calories you're really going to burn, even if you're super active during the day.
Is that why people plateau when they take keto? When they
Uh,
do keto?
Generally, I think it's more a challenge of adherence, though, right?
Okay.
Because you want to have that birthday cake once in a while. You want to have some sort of carbohydrate once in a while.
Yeah.
And it's that limitation that works in the short term. Don't get me wrong. People lose fat because their calories are a lot lower
Yeah.
by default. But, there's a certain element of enjoyment you need out of your diet too.
Yeah.
Even if you're striving to lose fat.
Yeah.
And keto tends to take that away for a lot of us. I've done it personally way back when I worked for the newspaper, actually.
Yeah.
I did it for a while. I was irregular in the bowel department. That was my biggest challenge with it. Was
With the keto.
just moving all that meat without.
I don't know anyone who does the keto a diet that doesn't periodically have a cheat.
Sure.
Right. So
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's suggesting that you're going to go keto every single day for the rest of your entire life. But if I can comment at all about
Yep.
the video, where he's saying that there's no research that suggests that sugars, as far as
No,
glucose,
he did not say sugars. He
doesn't
said
contribute.
carbohydrates.
right? But he clarified there's different kind of carbohydrates, right? So
Yeah.
a blueberry and a strawberry is different than a carbohydrate that's in baked potato or French fries or in an ice cream sundae. So I think that's what he was saying. There's a whole movement. There's a book called How to Starve Cancer, I think, and it's taking sugar items and taking it out of your diet, and that can help shrink or kill cancers. And I do believe there's some merit to that.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think that's what he said, though. I think he
Yeah.
said more so
I think he was.
carbohydrates.
I think he
and
was.
carbs in
I
general.
think he was questioning the science behind sugars and cancer. I think he was in that.
Yeah, I went on a tangent there.
Yeah, I think
But
you
to-
missed. I think you missed that part.
But to
Um,
go back to Peter Attia, the reason he's backed off of long-term fasting and keto to some degree is the importance of muscle retention
And that's- yeah.
longevity. And it's hard to retain muscle if you're
especially
starving
at
yourself.
that age, right? Like when
Sure.
you're getting older,
Yeah.
it's harder to retain that muscle, right?
And there's more and more links to like grip strength and just having the ability to get up after you fall. That
Yeah.
has a huge factor role in that too. So it's hard to maintain muscle in the absence of carbohydrates that fuels your intense workouts. But if you're super sedentary and you've got a lot of fat to lose, I see keto working for the right person.
Yeah.
I'm not
How do you
dogmatic about it.
speak to when you were in school? Let's say you're 10, 15 years old, to when kids are now in school. What are some of the detriments or some of the things that are harming our kids today as far as diet, nutrition, and society?
I think food quality has just gotten more and more diluted, certainly, because it's big business, big money, and it's just mass produced and it's stripped of a lot of the micronutrients. I don't know if it was a book called The Dorito Effect, where healthy food used to taste a lot better. You'd get the chicken breast fresh from the farm and it was juicy and tasty and it still had great macronutrients. And now it's mass produced. The chickens live a horrible life, comes out all dry and
Steroid induced.
yes. And that trickle down effect leans people more and more towards processed foods because the taste gap is so much wider now. Like the processed foods taste better and better
Yeah.
compared to the healthy foods.
Were kids, and some of the arguments is that kids also don't move as much as they used to.
Sure.
Is that true? People show me pictures of 50 years ago when everyone was like thin. Is that just a wishful thinking? That's not really how people were, or is there some truth to that?
I think there's some merit to that. You've seen like pictures of the beach in the 70s to the beach now, and the population as a whole a lot thicker. But
I think you can
politely.
take pictures of the beach in Europe versus
Even
pictures of the
Europe, yeah.
beach here even, and you can see a big difference still. Like European beaches are still very similar to what
yeah,
we would see from like 70s and 60s.
yeah. I don't know if we can point the finger at one factor. Like
Can we?
the nutrition, certainly big food, but our sedentary lifestyle is the combination of that.
Yeah.
I think we're more stressed and not sleeping as well as we got our faces in our devices until late night. Like all that stuff has a cascade compound effect
Right.
on our weight.
There's
gain.
that dopamine addiction on
Sure.
your phone
Yeah.
that you like for the sleep deprived people and
Yeah.
that type of thing. I really like when I look at it, I point at big sugar. That's
Mm.
sugar to me is what tobacco was when my parents were kids. Right? Like they're pushing, like sugar has such a control over the food industry these days, just like tobacco had over the health industry back in the day. They used to say smoking was good for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And now look at how big the sugar industry is, right? There's how many different kinds of sugar these days, and each one of them is claiming that they're the right kind of sugar, but all of them will give you a spike in your insulin, correct?
Yeah, and the thing is, I lump sugar and fat into one, right? It's the junk food industry.
Yeah.
It's the combination of the two typically.
Yeah.
Like refined carbs, yeah, not great. Sugar's not great, but sugar's in healthy things too, like blueberries, strawberries, etc. But in a donut, you got a ton of saturated fat, you got a
Yeah.
ton of sugar. It's the excess calories that are
Yeah.
to blame.
Look at how long the lineup is at Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
It's- you know what?
Exactly.
I've been working close to Krispy Kreme. The lineup is quite a bit shorter 3 months in,
It is
and
shorter.
the light was red. And there's nobody there.
It is shorter, but we were there last weekend and it was still
The
a
weekend,
5-minute wait. And
Yeah.
when we left, it was probably about a 10-15 minute wait. I think it depends on the day, but
Yeah.
like that obviously is Krispy Kreme opens up. It's super popular.
Yeah.
You know, a new fast food joint opens up, super popular. So like, are we being conditioned to only like the fast foods?
Well, it tastes good, admittedly.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They've got, it's basically a form of crack cocaine at some
Yeah.
level, right? You want to keep
Yeah.
coming back for more. What we've seen, though, if you look at the research, obesity rates continue to climb with sugar intake. But over the last 10, 15 years, sugar intake's actually dropped. Like, companies are becoming more aware of reducing sugar from their products, but the calories remain the same. We're still eating 400.
Are they just increasing the sizes and then decreasing the sugar?
Apparently not.
Oh, okay.
No, our actual grams of sugar we're consuming day to day is dropping,
Okay.
but obesity rates continue to climb. So it's hard to vilify just one thing. But what it is we're consuming almost 400 calories more per day than we were in the 70s.
Okay.
So it's just that excess calorie intake is
Add
causing-
to that the lack of movement. And
Yeah,
you're going to have
you
a
compare it with
obesity
that.
epidemic.
yeah.
Well, there's a lot more people in front of computers and in
Yeah.
front of screens for daily work.
Yeah,
a
and
lot
portion
less.
sizes continue to get bigger and bigger, right? You go to restaurants and you've got one serving that's 1,200 calories. It's a day's worth of calories for some people, right?
And it's funny because some people pick restaurants based on portion sizes,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like you go to a
Mhm.
restaurant, you're like, well, like how big is this meal or how big is that meal, right? And
Paying
you know.
for it, getting more value, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I
you're
try
paying
to
20 bucks
I
a
try to
meal.
have him share his food with me so it's less portion, but he doesn't like it.
I don't share. So the question for you: do you share food?
That's a tough one because once you go, I like to actually box up a percentage if I know I'm over my allotment for the day.
Yeah.
That's my tool to get the box before the meal even comes.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Because if it's asking afterwards, I'm going to finish everything.
Your wife's name's Brittany, you said?
Yeah.
So you and Brittany go to the restaurant. You order your meal because that's the one you wanted. She orders her meal because that's the one she wanted. And she goes, "Can I try yours?"
Yeah,
What-
no.
No.
No,
Okay,
no,
you're-
unless we're trading. Unless we're trading.
Yeah, well, you can trade.
If
You
it's
can
a taco
win.
for something.
You win.
I win.
I
That's
knew
what
it.
mean.
I knew you were setting me up for something there, the way you guys were looking at each other.
I can't eat any of his food. It's like
He can't.
Is
My
there a
wife
trade
can't.
option?
nobody
can.
can.
And it's not really a trade option. Lorraine gets the first bite nowadays.
Oh, really?
Nowadays.
Like I usually will like if it's a pasta meal because I really we don't eat pasta a lot at home. So when we go out, I like to get a good pasta meal because that's that's
Mhm.
what I like, right?
Yeah.
So I get the one I like, and she gets a bland one that she likes. And she's like, "Would you like to try
A
mine?" I'm
bland-
like,
a bland
"No,
one?
I
The
don't want."
trade isn't attractive
The
to you.
trade isn't
Okay.
attractive.
Your wife
It's like-
chooses bland food.
Yes, compared to what
Wow.
I like spicy.
You heard it first on the Greg and Tim show.
I
His
the
like,
wife
roomie
Lorraine only
Calling her
likes
out.
bland food everywhere she goes. Wow.
So she'll do more like a chicken bacon ranch, and I'll do more like a spicy Italian. You know what I mean? Like
Okay, you like
so
spice.
I like-
Yeah.
I like a little bit more flavor to mine, and she likes the ranch, right? So, yeah. So I also don't share food. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's hard, but I could see a bartering system working.
Yeah, you
right?
you
Taco
get like
for,
8 different plates. You have 8
So he
people,
already
Oh,
and then
family
you-
style.
and then
yeah.
Well,
he
family
won't
style is
do
different.
families. No, that's similar.
We do family style. So we've
Some
gone to
places
When
do
was
Shea
the
family
last
style.
time we did family style?
when we had to.
When we had to. When we had to. See, there we go.
Shea Cafe. Have you ever been to Shea Cafe?
I have not. I've been to a few that are family style.
Yeah.
I don't know if
And
Love it.
family style's
Love it.
okay, but
When he has to.
okay,
when
we're
he
gonna
has
bring it
to.
up right now. We're gonna bring it up right now. Tim, no, I'm gonna talk right now. Tim is hard to eat family style with because he takes the food off the family style plate with the fork that he's eating with.
Ooh.
I'm not sure that's correct.
That is 100% correct. And if
I'm not
his
sure
wife
that's
was here
correct.
right now, she would be going like this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
That's 100% correct.
I may have done that before, but I don't think it's etiquette.
Possible. I
don't think
can't
it's
remember.
proper
I have to
etiquette.
go back in the film
Yeah,
of
especially
dinners.
post-
and-
Lorraine,
and
can you
see it.
confirm this for me with your head nod?
I think actually he licks his fork.
No,
Yes, that's right.
A joke.
No,
as a
no.
joke.
Clean it.
As a joke.
then he
Oh,
uses
yeah,
it.
that's
that's
all.
gotta be a
I'm
joke.
just
That's
kidding.
performance.
It bugs him, so I do that. I
Got
don't
it.
normally
bug
do
you?
that.
Would that bug
Oh,
you?
yeah.
But I
yeah.
only do that because I know it just bothers
Right,
the
I get
heck
where you're
out of
trying to
him.
say.
Wait a minute. Listen. Would that bug you?
It would.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. But I'm
Of
not. I
course,
wouldn't
it'll
do it
bug
'cause-
everybody.
But you're over the top at how much. Like if I even go close to you just like slap my hand.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Post-COVID world, man. There
So-
should be a glass divider between you and the plate.
There should
Yeah.
be one right here, right now. Actually.
yeah, we should try that one time. Just the. Question for you. We talked about with another guest when we talked about health and nutrition, the science of failure. When someone has a meal or a day or a couple of days or a week where they don't eat properly, some people will say, you know what, I'm getting back on the wagon and I've gained a couple pounds, but I'm raring to go. We're going to hit it hard the next week. And other people say, well, who cares? I failed. So I'm just going to keep eating these Doritos and keep going to Krispy Kreme because it's all over. Why do some people, in your opinion, because we don't know exactly the answers, why do some people quit and some people just push harder when they fail?
It ties back to your identity, right? If you identify as a healthy, fit person, you're going to deviate for a while, but not forever, right? But if you're kind of faking it, trying to really grin and bear and make good choices, and you fall off, then that tends to lead to falling off more and more and more. So it does start between the years, that mindset that, I'm committed to being a healthy person for X, Y, Z reasons, and having a strong why to continue to make the effort. But if you're just forcing it for a surface level goal, you probably won't continue to make the effort. So
you identify as a healthy, fit individual, both mentally, physically, all those things. And maybe when you were younger, the identity wasn't there yet.
Yeah, I've been on both sides of that equation, so I understand what has kept me on the straight and narrow. Not to say I'm perfect, I have lots of setbacks, but for the long haul, it's because I can't see myself, living any other way. Yeah, now that said, it's my job too, so that makes it easier than someone that isn't doing this for a living. I get that piece to it.
Yeah.
But having a short list of reasons for why you want to do this, I want to be around for my kids, I want to intimidate their future boyfriends. That's the case for me. Certainly.
Intimidate their future boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
That's definitely on the high.
You whispered that.
Yeah, but
eventually your girls will see
it
this.
came up. Yes, unfortunately, that is definitely a reality. True. So having more and more reasons to want to make the change in the first place, and reminding yourself of that, if it has to be a sticky note on your computer, like I'm doing this for this reason.
And you're a taller guy. You're taller than you appear on TV.
I know. Everyone says that. I must do.
You're 6'2".
Yeah, you're 6'3".
At the most, I'm 6'3". At the most,
6'2" at the most. I was going to say 6'3", but then we proved that I was not quite that.
Well, you had tall shoes on.
That's true.
Tall socks on.
But I got limited to 5'11", which really hurts because that
So
6
close.
foot was so close to me.
Yeah.
And I'm only 5'11", so
I'm going to switch gears here in a second. But before I do, quickly, when you are off the wagon, what do you cheat with?
Well, I call it the law of red velvet cake, right? Because if the red velvet cake from Sal's doesn't get into my car or into my fridge, and it doesn't get into my stomach and contribute to belly fat, so I don't have it too often.
Yep.
But a birthday is coming up, 40th birthday. Certainly, I would
So
expect
red velvet cake from where?
Salisbury House.
Oh,
Yes.
do they have like a special red velvet
They
cake?
do.
Like you buy a whole
don't
cake?
try it. You'll be addicted, man. It's
Next
Isn't
time.
red velvet cake just regular cake with red icing?
Don't go there. Don't say that. It's white icing for one, but it's a red cake.
Oh, it's red cake.
Yes.
It's regular cake with red dye.
I would like to think there's more to it than that, but yeah.
But if I
largely,
told you
yes.
that, maybe your brain will stop thinking it's so
Darn-
good.
Yeah,
He's been
it's the
conditioned-
icing.
he's
It's
been
the icing
conditioned.
that does it.
Is
I
it a
don't know
cream
what
cheese icing?
It is, but
Oh, yeah.
it's a little how they make it. I don't know. It's not
My
from
mom
Calvert.
makes a rhubarb cake with a cream cheese icing that is amazing.
anything with cream cheese icing. Let's be honest here.
So good.
My wife does a
You don't-
red velvet cream cheesecake.
Okay, cheesecake never been. I can take it or leave it, honestly.
Yeah.
But red velvet cake from Salisbury House.
That's your
Yeah.
cheat cake.
I want my.
So
birthday
just
to
like
go
last
faster now.
recording, Greg is going to have that tomorrow. So tomorrow he's
I have
going
to
to
go to
pick up
Salisbury
a
House.
red velvet
yeah.
cake from Salisbury House and
I know.
post
And eat the whole
that.
cake.
And no, you don't have to eat the whole, just half the cake. The rest of your family
They
can have
sell
the
a
other
whole
half.
cake there?
Well, of
Yeah,
course.
it's not massive, but it's a good sized tray. So yeah.
Like when you're there eating at the restaurant, can you just order a piece?
You can order a slice. Yes. you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that might be better for you.
Yeah, it's not as fun though. It's
No.
really as fun. Yeah.
So at least a piece. Anyway, I was just curious. So I want to move on. Big pharma, especially in the Canadian healthcare system. What are your thoughts? And when you go to a doctor today and they're prescribing you certain medications, how do we trust those people to not think that they're not being biased in what they're giving us?
The doctors, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hot button topic. I have friends who are doctors, so it's difficult for me to slander the name, but I will.
I was going to say, you can just say I can't answer.
Yeah,
but you can do whatever you want.
It's kind of, they're set up to fail, right? They're order takers. They have to see so many people a day. What do you get, 5 minutes with the doctor? They're going to make a quick judgment call. And it may be right, maybe wrong. And oftentimes it comes down to prescribing something because people want something tangible.
They want relief.
That's going to help instantly. And often a pill, placebo or not, may or may not have that effect for certain people, right?
Yeah.
I like to think there are people in the pharmaceutical industry who have good intentions, and there have been drugs that have certainly had a positive impact, I think a net positive.
Yeah.
But overall, track record's pretty bad, right? And the same goes for doctors.
Yeah, and the tough part is finding a good doctor, right?
Yeah.
Like finding one that you can trust and that you can go visit on a regular basis here in Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we love our free healthcare, but the problem is because it's free, we don't get the same kind of attention that you would get if you were paying for your healthcare. Does that make
100%?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you agree with that?
Yeah, which is why people are overbooking appointments because it's free. You know, if you had to pay for every visit, you'd likely use that a little bit more wisely, and then that's a strain on the system.
So we talked to another guest a while ago about we compared your symptoms, if you're having symptoms of anything, to the check light engine of your vehicle. And Greg made the joke that he has a vehicle where all the lights are on,
like a Christmas tree,
but because it's past life, he's just going to let it die.
Okay. Yeah.
And
well, it's more expensive to keep it alive.
Okay.
For my car.
So
yes,
we talked to, it was actually Dr. Dan a number of months ago, and he said just because you have pain, it's not a bad thing. But in our culture, we're taught pain bad. How fast can I make this pain go away? Instead of asking the question, why is this pain here? What is it telling me? And what are some of the deeper things that I need to go into to alleviate that pain? So if I have constant headaches, we're going to take a pill or get prescribed a pill. Whereas those headaches might say, you need to get better sleep. You need to have a better diet. You need to get more exercise and these things. Do you agree with that concept?
Yeah, it's the whole delayed gratification versus instant gratification mentality of our world, right? And the Advils and the short-term benefit, right? Take the pain away, but long-term pain, right? Because you're not addressing the root cause, which could be lack of hydration or lack of movement, or like you said, you came up with a list of things that might be causing the headache. So I'm all for not prescribing things unless all natural routes have been exhausted. Just like, I don't know if you're that familiar with the Ozempics of the world now, right? It's a drug.
It's supposed to be a diabetes medication.
It is, yes. And they later discovered after prescribing it to diabetics that, they seem to be losing weight. They're not as hungry as they were before. So let's mass produce this for suppressing appetite and losing weight. And I mean, they're making a small dent into the obesity crisis potentially. But is it the first choice, the majority?
The side effects could be way worse in the end, right?
And there's no long-term studies to say exactly what
in terms of heart health and that type of stuff.
Yeah, for someone that's clinically obese with a bunch of, risk factors, potentially those side effects outweigh the potential side effects of the drug down the road.
Yeah.
But for the average person in Hollywood that's losing it to look bony and skinny, is it worth it? I guess if their career depends on it, for the majority of us, probably not a good trade-off, just not knowing
what the actual...
Yeah.
So how do you balance your home life with kids, with your work life, with your training life, and then also your training on your own fitness journey? How do you balance work life, home life, and your own fitness journey life all together?
Well, I'll be honest and say that there were times when my own fitness journey took a bit of a backseat building the business. I've gotten that back on the rails by buying back my time with team members, right? Like
Yeah.
we've got a team of 7 now in various capacities, which helps me kind of free up a bit more time in my day.
Yeah.
But the caveat is that I still do this for a living and I enjoy working out. So it's harder for me to relate to someone that absolutely hates working out and is trying to make time for it.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful and almost convinced that they should grow to love it. The better they get at it, and the more it becomes routine and automatic. But that takes time. It's pushing a boulder uphill for that first while.
Where do you start with, just out of curiosity, sorry to interrupt the question, but where do you start with somebody because someone's obese or overweight, just walking, then they go from there, slowly build up, or what?
Yeah, I'm not a big one habit at a time guy. I like if someone's super motivated coming in, let's install as many as we can. And it's our big 5 habits we talk about. We don't expect them to be 100% compliant with them, but they're simple at the end of the day. Water, steps, nutrition, we call it our CAP framework, which is about calories and protein, right? Just getting those right. And then the sleep and the strength workouts and introducing them one at a time, but trying to get them all in the mix as quickly as possible. Because once they get momentum on one, they tend to be able to get momentum on the next. And once they see results, then it creates motivation to continue to do it. So if we just introduced drinking water, be motivated because they're not going to see much results from that for weeks at a time, right?
Yeah.
So I prefer to kind of boot camp style, get them in for the first 12 weeks and really dial everything in. And if we have to scale something back, we will.
But crush their spirits.
Yes.
Do you do everything remotely? How are you meeting with your clients?
Majority are virtual only clients now. Yeah.
Virtual? Okay.
We have an app built out. I can see when they complete a workout, what they're eating day to day, like all the accountability they actually need is in the program. Whereas when I was a personal trainer only, I would put them through a ball busting workout once a week.
Yeah.
Then every Monday came back, oh, how was your diet? Oh, I drank too much and ate too much. And we'd be stuck in this cycle, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm nudging them when they need it most.
Yeah.
And there's real check-ins and accountability to those other 23 hours a day.
So you say it's virtual and it's on an app. So do you limit the amount of people that can use it on a regular basis? Is that how you're being able to monitor individuals?
Well, I have other coaches, right? So everyone has a limit in terms of clients. What we can safely, because it's true one-to-one coaching. I want to provide something different from the Looms or Nooms or whatever that app is that's more automated.
Yeah.
So they're actually getting human interaction and support with the technology to kind of bridge the gap, right?
Okay.
So we do like a formal check-in on Mondays, kind of a report card they fill out. We do have group calls through Zoom. I have a therapist on my team who kind of does more of a mindset call. Midweek momentum is Wednesdays. There's a real active community within the app, like points-based challenges, right? Where it's automated. You get a point if you do your food log, a point if you get a workout, you see yourself on the leaderboard. We gave away a trip to Mexico. Like we go all out with those and gamify the grind, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because that really human nature being what it is. If you see, immediate gratification for your efforts, because we know the weight loss is going to be delayed, then they can keep plugging away.
So have you kind of taken the video game mentality and put it into this?
Get their dopamine firing a bit for good reasons.
Yeah.
How many coaches do you have?
2 others.
2, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it works. You can handle a lot more coaches in this format than you could personal training, trying to schedule sessions with people. And I find, we do virtual classes as a part of it, but we find people need support in other areas. It's not so much the workout that they really need.
And you developed this in COVID because you had to? Is that what I understand?
No, you did it in 2018.
Yeah, it was before, yeah.
So you happened to develop a system that really benefited you during COVID.
Correct. Beforehand, it was more hybrid where I would still meet with them every couple weeks. And
so you were raring to go.
Yeah.
When this all hit.
Oh, yeah. So I actually benefited, frankly. It was unfortunate for a lot in the industry who were solely in person. And a lot of people didn't want to go back to hybrid after. They found they got everything they needed from how we operated. There's a certain percentage that want more of a therapist, someone to kind of talk through their problems with as a trainer. So that's not me, because that's that meetup where...
Yeah. Is there a detriment to... And I know where you go virtually, it seems like everything else is virtual. So if someone wants to go see a therapist, like they'll talk to someone over a screen. If they, what are the downsides to human interaction for where not just you, but it seems like the entire universe is going that way?
Yeah. Well, we don't really know yet. I find I have a business mentor I've never met in person. We do Zoom calls. I get every bit I need from that. So I'm kind of used to this delivery model and it works, but I could see there's a certain segment of the population that you're not getting quite the same body language or interaction through a Zoom call versus face to face like this. So
Yeah.
the reality is I think it's not going away because it's so convenient. You don't have to commute across town, Transcona, to do a podcast. So
I guess the biggest difference though would be the fact that you're doing a Zoom call to help people's lifestyle, right? Their health, their workouts, their lifestyle. So you're not putting them in front of a screen just to talk to them about random statistics or meeting notes, that type of thing. Your Zoom call is more of a progression, I would assume, like where you are in your progression, where you are going and what your next steps are, that type of thing. So it probably gains a little bit more, I'm going to say, like, credibility because of that. Is that...
Yeah, I mean, our Zoom calls aren't just random, another meeting on the calendar. It's one-on-one focused 90-day blueprint, and I have what I call my perfect fat loss blueprint. So we actually map out, okay, what's your goal for the next 90 days?
Yeah.
Here's action step 1, 2, 3. What do you need to do within 24 hours, 48 hours? All right, here are the check-ins at 7, 14, 21, 30 days.
Yeah.
So there's a real structure to that gets them excited, gives them their marching orders, and then we can do all the interaction we need through the app, through the group calls, through the connect, touch points in other ways.
Yeah.
So there isn't really a huge need for face-to-face because they know where I stand and what they need to do. Yeah.
Where do you find the word meditation, faith, and or religion fall into developing a healthy, let's call it soul or mind?
I think it's big. I mean, religion can be just spiritual, right? It doesn't really matter where you stand on that, but having a connection to a higher power or a belief in something beyond yourself, I think that's important. We're so stressed out and we're constantly reactive all day to our notifications that I think just unplugging from the matrix or the universe to meditate, whatever that looks like to you. It could be just walking, without inputs in your ears. Even if you're big fans of the show, listen at another time. Get a walk in without.
Half and half.
You can put the headphones away halfway through. So I'm big on that. What about yourself?
Oh yeah, we are big. We like to ask our guests about meditation because meditation exists over lots of religious beliefs. Even if people don't have religious beliefs, or if they're atheist or whatever, they still believe in some kind of meditation where they're focusing on something outside of their, like you say, to disconnect. Whether it's meditation, they're focusing on nature, like you say, a beautiful day, their family, where they're just kind of giving their brain that kind of mental break, or
like a gratitude.
Or envisioning something.
Huge.
Whether, let's say it's a weight loss, just envisioning what it would mean to have a healthy body. Like you say, change your mindset to say, I am a healthy person, not a fat person underneath it all, but I'm a healthy person. I just don't look like that right now, but I am going to, that kind of thing. So I always like to ask that question because we don't all, like, we are Christian and we believe in Jesus, we believe in God, but some people don't have that belief. But there's certain things that go across a lot of different belief systems that are the same, and meditation seems to be one of those things, right?
Absolutely. Huge believer in it. And we have Coach Gavin on our team, Gavin McHale, who funny enough, it's called the Mindset Matrix course. It's a little side piece we give to people who are really struggling between the ears and getting deeper into what is holding them back. That's self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And so we go a bit woo-woo with that, but I'm a big believer in that. I think it's half the reason I got where I got was, envisioning, having a clear path, and that almost delusional belief in yourself. I think you need some of that, and then meditating on it and continuing to remind yourself of why you're trying to strive.
And sometimes they're so subconscious in those belief systems that you don't even know what you're. I have a family member who, when they were growing up, their whole family was, if you weren't a little bit overweight, you're too thin. And so when they get to a certain level of success, well, I'm too thin. Yes. Because that's what I was brought up to believe, right?
That's the deep work that, a nutrition and workout plan doesn't cover.
And family can really direct you in different ways, right? Like family history. In your family history, like, was there a lot of people that worked out in your family before you?
No, my parents weren't necessarily overweight. and they were athletes growing up, but that hadn't really continued, at least when I was old enough to remember,
Yeah.
so.
Did you ever think to yourself, I want to be different than them?
No, actually. And I'm not sure why I gained the weight I did, because my brothers, neither of them really did. So there might have been some unresolved trauma that led to some overheating on my part. I'm not sure.
You never know,
I
right?
haven't had those deep conversations with the therapist, so I might still be festering it inside. But
But you have a therapist on team, you said, right?
I do, yes. Yeah.
Should we bring them in for the next?
No,
Might.
it's all virtual. There's no couch.
Oh, you don't get to sit on the couch?
No.
So the person that's on your team, is this person local or?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. You should
So
go on.
your whole team is local?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
no, one coach is from Florida. I met her
Okay.
through a mentorship program. We align on a lot of the same principles. I'm like, oh, let's prove that we can actually have someone that's not in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Still coach largely Winnipeggers.
Yeah.
And it's worked out great. She's been, I think, the longest serving ever since the start of it, 3-4 years ago now. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe in hypnosis?
I do, because I've attempted in the past. It hasn't really had the desired effect for me.
Yeah.
Like I was dealing with insomnia a year or so back, and I went through hypnosis.
Yeah.
And
And it didn't help?
Didn't-
I was relaxed, but I certainly didn't have an immediate benefit.
Yeah.
I sorted it out now on my own, but maybe that was the trigger. It just didn't stick.
Didn't happen instantly.
Yes.
Yeah. No, hypnosis. So I used to do a hypnosis for weight loss and stuff like that. And I found it actually just helped me. It was like a meditation. So like Tim was saying for meditation, but it was more along the lines of it was telling me what to think, telling me how I'm supposed to be acting, telling me what I was supposed to be doing. And then I fell off of it. Right. And it was actually one of the things I was doing pre to 2020 where I was actually having a lot of success. I'm not saying the hypnosis was the reason for the success, but I believe like the meditation or having your mindset, the mindset matrix reset really would help, right?
Yeah, self-talk is so critical at the end of the day. And critical, I chose that word, I guess, by accident, but it can really make or break you, right?
Yeah.
If you're talking down to yourself, try to talk to yourself like you would a friend you're trying to support on that journey, and you wouldn't call them a fat bastard and again, right?
Yeah.
You actually try to navigate and help them troubleshoot the situation and support them.
It's crazy. Like I always go back to a stat that I heard that something like 85% of the messages or things we say to ourselves subconsciously are negative.
Yeah.
And something like 90% of those things are cyclical. They're recycled. They're not new regularly every single day. So we, without knowing it, pound the same message over and over. And the scary thing is we don't even realize that we're doing that.
Yeah, it's like a path through a field that's so downtrodden. To create a new path, you've got to pretty much repeat these positive affirmations and positive actions over and over until that new path is starting to actually make its way through.
Do you remember the SNL movie with Stuart Smalley, where he would stand in front of a mirror and say, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me." And it was a whole skit with Saturday Night Live. And I think Michael Jordan they would have these famous people, and he'd have them say all these things, even though they were very secure. You'd think to themselves, and I think Michael Jordan was like just laughing. He couldn't stop laughing or whatever. But they made it a whole movie. Stuart Smalley Saves the World. It's actually a full-length feature film about this character. But it's funny because it was comical, but in reality,
life lessons all through it.
You really should be saying these, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. There's probably some truth to it.
I don't know about you guys, and this is just me speaking out loud here. Most of my ability to think that I'm going to do something happens at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So like when I think, oh, I'm going to work out tomorrow. But it's always at the end of the day where I feel like, okay, here's my plan. I'm going to figure that all out. And like positive talk is happening at the end of the day. I find it really hard to do it in the morning though.
Are you, first of all, and are you a morning person or a night person?
Night person.
So he's a night person.
Yeah,
are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning person now.
I'm a morning person too.
Yeah.
So that would correlate with what you're saying.
So at the end of the day, your brain is not thinking about
after
tomorrow.
10 p.m., my brain shuts off completely. If you want to have a conversation with me, it better be before 10:25.
Yeah. So you should actually schedule stuff during the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you can't sleep though.
Well, it depends on how late we're talking here, right?
Yeah.
It should be at least 2 hours out from bedtime, or else it could affect your sleep.
Interesting.
It's the
I
whole-
see you're wearing, is that an Aura ring?
It is, yes.
Okay, I got an Aura ring on as well.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So
I got a
have you? And he's got a tattoo of a ring. But anyway, so the Aura ring, do you find that it's been helping you track your sleep and track your activity and track all the, like, it does readiness, activity, and sleep are the 3 primary things. And then it also is supposed to track, like, whether or not you're starting to, you know, have a fever or an increased temperature, body temperature, that type of thing. Do you utilize that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I like it. I take data with a grain of salt from these and try not to have it affect my day. If it gives me a low sleep score, but I feel good, I'm going to try not to convince myself that I didn't sleep well. Yeah. But at the same time, it's motivating to see your step count like anything and try to stay within that range or target it gives you. Yeah. HRV, I think, has merit. You know, I think knowing it's higher is optimized for probably a better workout that day. So I certainly factor that in.
And if you do have a bad sleep score, you can actually look back and say, okay, like I went to bed at 11:30, I got up at 7, I may not have gotten as much as I needed, that type of thing, right? And even if you do feel great, it'll still remind you, like, hey, you are supposed to go to sleep at this time, you're supposed to get up at this time, just to kind of keep you on track too, right?
It helps change your behaviors a bit too, because you see the impact of even just one alcoholic beverage on your resting heart rate, your sleep quality. It can have an impact if it's too close to bedtime, right? So like, okay, I'm going to try to avoid that. Yeah. Even if it's hard. So I like these kind of devices. And I like that wearables are really in vogue right now, and that there's, VO2 max tests and different ways to go about really optimizing your health. Yep. I mean, I think people can take it a bit too far and overlook the basics that still work best, right? Yeah. Just getting your sleep and walking and
get your 7 to 8 hours.
Yeah. And not, if you're going to sit in a sauna for 20, maybe it'd be better off to just go for a walk if it's, the choice between the two. But I see the value in all that stuff as well. So
cool. What's your bracelet?
Consistency compounds. It's our slogan at Calvert Fitness. Yeah. Keep showing up, right?
So consistency compounds, meaning like, your consistency, and you're just building on that consistency on a regular basis.
Just like an RRSP, right? Keep putting in your...
And it's going to go up.
Gradually over time, you'll get the payoff. Exactly.
We're not going to go into the RSP versus...
I don't think we're going into mutual
anyway,
funds.
Ideally, no. We have anyway, we won't go into that. So we're almost to the end of the interview, and you've been fantastic guest. We've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this has been great. I hope you've enjoyed it and not just listen to him.
No, I love it. You guys are great.
So we have a fun segment to end the show.
And then a couple questions.
Couple
small questions.
A couple small questions. So you want to do the fun stuff or the couple small questions?
I want to do the fun stuff. I'm going to do it.
Go ahead. So we're going to do something. I'll explain it. You do it.
Yeah. You're so good at explaining this game.
Well, yes,
is that
because
sarcasm or...
See, he already knows my sarcasm, and he's only...
No.
Hey, wait a minute.
I couldn't help myself. That's why you don't have...
You're the guest that's looked the most at the screen.
You keep pointing it out.
This is a game. This is a game called This or That. It's as simple as it sounds. You pick one thing or the other. You may choose to go on about it. You may choose to just say what it is and then move on.
Or you can explain.
Or you can,
Can I pass on any question?
You may not say neither, and you may not pass. I don't think any of these are controversial. Sometimes we choose people that isn't fair. Sometimes they say or they don't say, but there's none of that here as far as I know. But are you ready to play this
Once you
or
pick
that?
One, the other one disappears from your life forever.
Oh, okay. Very final. This is like the two universes.
Do you have the one
tossing them into the one?
Do you have the two kids? His two kids? Okay, anyway, continue. Go ahead. You may begin.
Your 8-year-old or your 6-year-old?
Yeah, that's tough call. Some days.
Some days. Okay, we're going to start out really easy here. Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Okay. Cheat meal or cheat day? Cheat meal or cheat day?
Oh, we already kind of disclosed this one. Cheat meal is the best approach, in my opinion.
So not the whole day?
It just opens up a can of worms for multiple cheat days.
Okay.
Because once you've had one too many bad meals, it's hard to get it back on the tracks.
All you can eat ribs or all you can eat wings?
Oof. Montana's ribs I had recently, and that's most closely in mind, so I'm going to have to lean that way.
For the ribs?
Yeah.
Zevia or bubbly?
We're sponsored by Bubbly here on the show, so I'm gonna have to go with Bubbly.
Oh, do you have a contact? Can
No,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
get
yeah.
the contact from
he's
Michael
assuming
Bublé.
that because we have the can here, we're sponsored by. We are unfortunately not.
Oh, you don't get this free, huh?
No.
No,
That's unfortunate. Michael Bublé wasn't on the show.
no.
Oh, we
He's,
should get Michael Bublé. My
Next
mom would love
week,
that.
Yeah.
We have a. Never mind. Continue.
Upper body workout or lower body workout?
Leg days make the man, right? So I'm gonna go lower, even though it's painful. In
So
the
you would
moments.
be really small upper and giant
yeah,
thighs
but I'd
and
be in
calves.
boxers all day, right, to show off.
Yeah, that's
the
me.
quads.
Really strong lower. Not much up top.
Family Guy or The Simpsons?
Yeah, oof. Younger person me would have said The Simpsons, but yeah, Family Guy won out.
Coffee. Do you drink coffee?
Yeah.
Tim's, Starbucks, or McDonald's?
I don't. I always have Keurig at home, honestly, but it's Tim's flavored, so I got to go with
Tim's?
Tim's. Yeah,
Video games or Netflix?
Netflix.
Wow.
I was obsessed with video games, but I had to cut it off. It was almost an addiction.
Okay.
That led to excess weight gain, so I just don't open the.
You just binge on Netflix.
Just Netflix now.
Just
yeah.
5 hours a night of Netflix.
Who am I
That's
kidding?
it.
My kids don't go to bed till 10. I rarely get an episode in nowadays. It's rough.
You got to start sleep training them.
We did that in the past, but yeah, the 8-year-old is very, very convincing now of ailments. She
Of
really knows.
ailments.
Oh yeah, she knows how to act it out. We're like, is she
You
telling
should
the
get some
truth?
of those placebos from your
I-
doctor
Oh
friend.
yeah. Melatonin.
I have
overdose.
hypochondria. I see you, Dad.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She can have a bleeding nose on command. It's a talent.
Working out or eating healthy?
Oh, working out's way more fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Eating healthy is the hard part.
So you would have
for
to just
Tim.
work out every day and you'd have to eat junk. Or
I'd be
you'd eat
okay with that
healthy
if
and
I
not
could
work
stay
out.
lean and yeah.
What's your daily workout, by the way?
Push pull legs, typical bodybuilder split. Although I like to kind of break it up and twice a week per muscle group.
So you do muscle. You don't do cardio. You just do
Oh
muscle.
no, I do cardio. I do get my step count. I play hockey once a week. I try to test my VO2 max like once every couple weeks.
Assault bike?
I got one in the mail actually. It's coming.
Do you?
Yeah,
I was
'cause
so
the treadmill
close to
sprints
buying
are,
one.
tough on the knees. So
You got the glasses instead.
I
Priorities.
got a spin bike instead.
oh well, that.
So I
that'll
was
work.
gonna go assault bike, but I went spin bike for like you can use it for more things.
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, where are we? Friends or Seinfeld?
Seinfeld's got to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mountain climber or beach bum?
Beach bum, Mexico.
Chocolate or chips?
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweets over salt.
Yeah. Amen.
I might know the answer to this one already from earlier conversations. Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, Arnold all the way.
Based on movies.
Based on movies, still Arnold.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like the Rambo series, but Arnold is just he has so much different.
Avery watched Kindergarten Cop. I said, "What did you do last night?" Oh, we watched Kindergarten Cop.
It's not a tumor.
She never watched that movie until yesterday, and that's the only line that anyone ever says on that movie till today. That movie came out must have been 30 years ago. The only line people ever remember is "Not a tumor,
Not a tumor.
not a tumor at all."
Or get to the chopper.
It's the blend of action and comedy that I can appreciate, right?
Yeah, that one. And what's the one with Sinbad in it, where they
That
go
wasn't a movie, was it?
Shazam.
they
Yeah.
fight over the toy, the Christmas
Oh, it's
Oh, yeah,
Jingle
sure.
All the
I
Way.
Jingle
watched that
all the
recently.
way.
Yeah.
one. iPhone
Not
or
his best
Android?
work, but Android. Simply because I'm a Google guy all the way.
Oh,
So
no.
I've got to have the
So
Google
perfection-
Docs. There it is.
So perfection is not attainable. We've just figured that out. Playing sports or doing CrossFit?
Oh, sports.
Yeah, you don't like CrossFit?
I did a spell of it, and my knees were never the same. So
Okay.
I appreciate the appeal for the right person that
Yeah.
likes the competitive nature of it, but I like to kind of lift with a bit more structure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the questions for this or that. I always add 2 questions at the end. Top 3 places in Manitoba for a date night with your wife.
Top 3. Steep Rock.
Steep
Bit of a
Rock?
commute,
Oh my
but
goodness, my wife's been
great
trying to get
view.
me there forever.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
So now I'm
we had
gonna
a
have to
cabin
go.
in St. Laurent, which meant it was only an hour and a half to get there. So that was
Okay.
the only reason we went. Otherwise, it's 3 hours or so.
It's a
Yeah.
it's a long drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The
So
next
Steep
one.
Rock. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It's cliche, but you can never go wrong with the keg.
Yeah.
Right?
The keg might be the number one choice of everybody.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah,
This
that's
is the
about 3 or 4 times that
third or
people say the
fourth, yeah.
keg. So very
I
popular.
suggest we need more options.
Is there a specific keg?
Well, I lived in Westwood for years, so the West Portage one is still the closest for me in Charleswood now.
Okay.
So, but we don't get many date nights these days. It's grandparents. We're asking a lot
They're
if we take away
selective.
for a trip. So just for a date night, they're not so willing to
Yeah.
to step in. Unfortunately, the last one would be a sporting event, likely the Jets, but Bomber game night is pretty special in the summer too.
There's something to do with a beautiful night outside
Exactly.
at
That's what you can't
at
get
the
with
stadium.
hockey games.
Yeah, you can't get that, right?
Mhm.
That's what I love about the Gold Eyes games.
Yeah.
You can just sit there and just
Mm.
enjoy it, and
Yeah.
real grass, and
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about Gold Eyes games to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, nature is calming, right? So there's something there.
I was talking to somebody at church on Sunday, and they were saying baseball. Ugh! I said you have to remember, you don't have to like baseball to enjoy a baseball game. It's
Mhm.
getting outside. It's the smell of the grass. It's having a hot dog. It's talking to your friends, where you can't do that at a hockey game. So I might have sold them on baseball. And the last question in this
This is
round.
Tim's last question. Yep.
In this round of this or that.
We have 2 questions
It's
left.
the appendage after this or that.
Okay.
Yeah. One person, dead or alive,
Ooh.
that you could have a 20-minute conversation with today.
Dead or alive? I like Barack Obama, so I think I'll go with that. Just because he's
He's
still
alive still, right?
He's still alive, so there's
Okay.
hope for it, right? At least
Yeah.
last I checked.
Oh, and
He
we'll
hasn't been shot at.
he has not been
Okay,
shot.
good.
No.
Okay, good.
Barack Obama is still around. So, are you going to steal this question from me too? No,
No.
He's stolen this one from me for the last couple of weeks. So
Do
that's
you have to
why.
put your name on the questions, or
Yeah,
You do.
you do, and it
He
still doesn't
treats
matter.
questions like food. They're his questions. They're my questions. And
okay,
if I
yeah,
take
yeah.
any one of his questions, I'm stealing his
Ah,
questions.
it's like-
So he's
work
like
at
the
family
kid that
dinners.
doesn't do his homework, and then he comes to class. And he's like, "Greg, just give me some of your work."
did I do my homework?
You did
today?
your homework today.
All right, well, there you go.
You did a good
I
So
job.
then you may ask
So
your
he
question.
still steals my questions.
Yeah.
This is the last question of the episode, and then we're going to let you go. I want to know one piece of advice that you would give today to somebody who's trying to get back onto the fitness train, back into their journey. What is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody today?
Enlist support. Stop going on a lone wolf journey with it. It's hard enough. I personally just hired a fitness coach again. I just like having someone in my corner to take the decision fatigue away and have that accountability just to report in. I just perform better, business, fitness, anything, when it's the power of the hive and there's a community around you and there's support, because we all know what to do, generally speaking.
Yep.
Eat less, move more. It's overly simplified, but it's the fact. So if we can't do that on our own, we've tried in the past, and you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh, I'm motivated to go again and do exactly what I did the last time when I failed. You should probably look for a different approach. Something. It doesn't have to be me or a coaching program even. There might be something else that'll still give you that support you need.
Yeah.
Ultimately to succeed this time.
That's awesome. Now, tell us, for the people that do want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
MitchCalvert.com, Instagram.com/ is it forward or backslash? What do they call that thing?
Backslash.
Slash?
Am I right?
/ Mitch Calvert Fitness. That's probably the
That's
place
your
to be.
Instagram.
Yes.
Mitch Calvert
If you're
Fitness.
easily offended, maybe just go to my website first. Download
MitchCalvert.com.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Instagram
And that's
gets a
good
little
in both
racy.
universes.
That's good in both universes.
For
Correct.
now.
But in this one, he doesn't wear a monocle.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Yes.
So MitchCalvert.com on Instagram, looking up your name, Mitch Calvert, or / Mitch Calvert Fitness.
Boom.
Are you on TikTok?
I am, but like I kind of hinted at before, I'm not a big fan of that platform. It's
Okay.
a time suck. But there is a
And
profile
Facebook.
there.
Are you on Facebook?
There's Facebook. There's LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, Facebook. Just look
Mhm.
up Mitch Calvert Fitness.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. It's awesome having you in the studio.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch.
Thanks for your time.
Okay,
Appreciate this.
guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show. If you don't know yet, Tim likes it when you comment. Tim loves the comments, whether they're positive, negative, whether they're about Shazam, the movie. Hit the comment button, tell us what you think, and hit the like button, subscribe button, all those other buttons that are down below Tim. They're not in the middle, they're below here. Yeah, can you see them down there? Yeah, there they are. hit those buttons. And Tim, don't touch my feet. Thank you very much, and have a great day. We'll see you later.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Sharing is caring.